Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Fatima Iqbal and I am a board certified internal medicine physician and I am also specializing in obesity medicine. I have worked both in the field of primary care and hospital medicine where I continue to work. I currently work with Duke University and have worked with University of North Carolina. However, for the purpose of these podcasts, my work is not associated with the university. The research is of my own, and the information that I present is from my own experience dealing with patients as well as from my research that I have done. So that said, I want to get started. My topic for today is regarding fasting, and this is the month of Ramadan where Muslims fast. We have been doing it for many years, and I am glad that the Western world is also coming into learning about intermittent fasting and the health benefits that have been associated with it. As Muslims, we tend to fast for the 30 days of Ramadan. However, there are other fasts that many folks also do that are unrelated to Ramadan, and that is also in the context of a religious perspective. For the sake of this podcast, however, our topic is not religious in nature. However, it's more medical in nature, and we want to discuss the health benefits of fasting and how fasting, in my research and my experience, I have seen has helped many patients achieve goals that they have been aiming, or particularly health goals where they want to medically get rid of the medications that they have been taking. So that said, certain points I have noted for this podcast, and I will present them in a more detailed fashion. The first topic is about autophagy, and that is a very important phenomena that happens not just in folks that are fasting. This is happening, of course, in our day-to-day just normal diets. As we lay down in bed at nighttime and we are sleeping, our body is in a state where it is repairing itself. And so that is such an important part of the whole human cycle, our day to day, our circadian rhythm. It is such an important part where sleep is necessary for every human being. And so even in our religion, sleep is considered a importance, and same way the night is present for people to rest and to charge their bodies. And it's truly charging in a sense that the proteins in the cells are in a state of repair. And that is such an important thing. Our proteins, of course, play a major part in our body, in growth, in just metabolism, in the food that we consume and how it is metabolized, in our young children who are growing in a stage of height increase. So these are very important concepts to understand when it comes to fasting and how that plays such an important part. So, of course, for every person, sleep is different. Some can tolerate 5 to 6 hours of sleep. For others, it's 6 to 8 hours, or a good window is between 6 to 8 hours for a proper cycle to take place. For my research, what I have found is many times when we have eaten the last meal of the day, which is usually at your dinner time, our body takes certain time to actually process this food. Now, it also depends on what you have eaten during that time. So say your last meal of the day was pizza and soda and um, fried chicken wings, that is going to take longer. And not only that, that also raises or spikes our blood glucose, which raises the insulin in the body. And that takes time for the body to metabolize and stabilize and so forth. So that phenomena is also very important to understand, is when do we actually reach that fasting state? And that fasting state may come 3 to 4 hours, even 5 hours. Everybody's metabolism is different. However, some ways where you can find out when your blood sugar has stopped spiking and when it has declined is the use of expensive medical equipment such as continuous glucose monitors, which a lot of folks, their insurances do cover. However, it has to be a medical reason behind it. I don't think they are covering unless there is a medical reason indicated for those. But that said, that can help tell when you reach that fasting state. Because in the fasting state, the blood glucose and the insulin tends to stabilize. And that is the state that helps with the autophagy component where the body goes in a repair state. So that is something that is to understand is depending on when you eat your last meal of the day is when you reach that stage of fasting. So it is important, and you may have heard it from many physicians, like stop eating 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. That is still remains to be a important concept, particularly when it comes to when you want to reach that fasting state. So the longer since your last meal, the better you would reap the benefits of the fasting state. Another study has showed that, and this was a study done in mice about intermittent fasting, how it helped improve some pro-health markers. And these markers were anti-inflammatory in their benefits. So mice that were suffering from fatty liver disease had a reversal or reduction in their disease when they were in a state of fasting. Now, how is this possible? Fasting does tend to cause a more anti-inflammatory state as opposed to a pro-inflammatory state. When you are eating and when we have food in our digestive tract, that tends to upregulate certain markers that are pro-inflammatory. And as a result, these markers, if sustained for longer, do end up causing damages that not just are as a result of weight gain, but also as a result of fatty liver changes as well. So fasting has shown that it helps reduce these pro-inflammatory markers as there's nothing in your gut. Gut is empty. And basically reduce the pro-inflammatory markers and increase the anti-inflammatory benefits of it. And we'll discuss that more. Another important part of fasting is, and I think this is very important to everybody basically, but students in particular, as you are in a state of learning, it does give clarity of mind. And how does that do so? That is more psychological in nature, but there has been some studies that have shown that it does impact the basal ganglia, which is the memory component of the brain, and that does help improve with brain function. So when you are in a state of fasting, and many Muslims may have observed them when they are observing Ramadan as well, your focus is not on the food. You're not worried about, hey, although, some of us do think what we're going to eat when we break our fast, but your focus throughout the day is other things that you want to accomplish. And a lot of folks would reap the benefit of increased focus as they are fasting, as that restriction that you have in place where you cannot eat is diverted to other attention spans, to other things that you wish to accomplish. So that is such an important component of fasting as well. When you know that you are fasting for an 8-hour window or a 10-hour window, then it becomes important for you to understand that, hey, I am not going to be eating anything right now. My focus should be my studies or my work or whatever is important to you. So that becomes something that is heightened during fasting as well, and another benefit of it. Hepatic lipase is an important part, an important hormone in our body, an important enzyme which helps to metabolize fat, particularly the bad fat in the body. And so it should be no surprise that fasting actually accelerates this enzyme and helps with accelerated weight loss. Some studies have been done on bicyclists where it has shown that fasting has increased their performance. Fasting tends to reduce the stress hormone cortisol. And as a result, if cortisol is high in the body, if you and we can discuss this in some other topic as well. If cortisol is high, this is the stress hormone that ends up causing inflammation in the body. And a lot of folks that have autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis and so on have a pro-inflammatory state per se. So fasting has shown that it helps reduce this cortisol level and as a result improve performance in these bicyclists as well as it reduced the inflammation. Folks that suffer from blood pressure and how fasting has had a very positive impact. Some studies have shown that patients that do follow a good fasting schedule have seen reduction in their blood pressure. And again, that reduction in the blood pressure, there's an interesting thought process behind that as well, is that when you are in a state of fasting, your body is metabolizing all those fats and as well as helping you be in a state where you are less inflamed as well. So that helps with your blood pressure in return. Another important topic is of cancer and how fasting has impacted cancer. Now, there are certain markers in the body, such as mTOR, which if you remember from your molecular biology, if you were in medical school at some point, you may have remembered about that. That is a marker that helps increase cell growth, and cancer cells thrive on this marker. So fasting actually has shown that it reduces the levels of these markers. And on the contrary side, it shows that with the concept of autophagy, it actually helps repair the cells that need to be repaired. Cancer is basically an accumulation of abnormal cells, whereas a cell repair is fixing of our normal cells of the body. Another thing is about your gut microbiome. Now that also gets regulated with fasting as well. Certain conditions in the body, such as irritable bowel syndrome, SIBO is a condition where is an overgrowth of small intestinal bacteria can end up causing diarrhea, bloating, stomach pains, cramping in patients. And some studies do show that fasting does improve some of those healthy bacteria in the gut and reduce the population of the harmful bacteria. And as a result, does help with clearing and improving some of these gut conditions as well. So another remarkable benefit of fasting that we can experience. And lastly is an important topic about fasting is that it actually helps increase antioxidants in the body. So antioxidants, again, are very important to us, not just fighting our environmental toxins, but our day-to-day stress, as well as is beneficial when it comes to cancer cells and their growth as well. So it is such an important topic where anti-inflammatory antioxidants have been increased in fasting states. And lastly is also cell resistance improves as you are in a state of fasting, and as a result makes you more resilient to stress. So stress is in our day-to-day lives. Most of us suffer through it. However, fasting has shown where it does tend to improve the stress hormone in your body, which is cortisol, as we discussed before, and reduce your overall stress as well. That brings us to the conclusion of our podcast today. I hope you were able to understand the benefits of fasting in this important topic. As we work through intermittent fasting, there are many things, concepts to understand. There are some studies that indicate that if you prolong your fasting after you wake up from your night's sleep, that can be of benefit. You can go 1 hour, 2 hours, up to midday, and that could be of benefit to you as it accelerates not just weight loss, but also accelerates those health benefits of fasting as well. And I would like to reinstate again the importance of not eating right before you go to bed, because that means you're going to reach your fasting state longer. So it's important that you finish that last meal or your last bite at least 3 hours beforehand, so that you are starting your fasting state and starting to reap the benefits of fasting. Besides that, sometimes light exercises at night have shown that they can decrease the blood glucose as well and help reach that fasting state much faster. So those are some important concepts to understand. Now, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12-hour windows, everybody's going to vary on how much they can tolerate. However, for the safe side, 8-hour window is um, shown to have shown benefits in the fasting state as well. So particularly the study that I mentioned that was done in mice did show that they were fasting for 8 hours, and so it ended up providing them with the benefit of fasting. I hope I was able to provide some valuable information in this podcast. Again, if you like my video, please do subscribe, as it does tell me your interest in the videos as well as more topics to present to you, and I will continue to do so on a regular basis. I want to thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.